Hello, beautiful people. Saturn has entered Pisces and will stay in Pisces until 2026. So let's find out exactly what this means for everyone as a whole and what this means for your individual sign. Let's go. Saturn began to transit Pisces on March 7th of this year, 2023, and will remain in Pisces until February of 2026. It will be making a shift into Aries from May 24th to September 1st of 2025 before shifting back into Pisces. But the major energy shift of Saturn into Pisces will be felt for the next 2.5 years. So let's find out what this means for everyone overall. But let's get a brief definition of what Saturn means in astrological terms. Saturn is the planet of responsibility, discipline, and life lessons. Under Saturn's influence, we achieve by overcoming obstacles and hardships. So understanding how this Saturn through Pisces transit relates to your birth chart will indicate what oppositions, delays, and upcoming challenges you may face, and it will also indicate how to best navigate this energy in order to optimize your personal growth and transformation, which can ultimately lead to your fulfillment. So you can check your birth chart and see what sign Saturn was in when you were born to find out exactly how well you accept responsibility, how disciplined you naturally are, and what delays and oppositions you can expect to encounter throughout your life's journey. But when Saturn makes a major shift like it just did, it will absolutely play a major role in your personal life. So I will make sure to go over that in detail when it comes to how it will affect your individual sign, but it also means a major shift for humanity as a whole in terms of the overall lessons and obstacles that we could potentially be facing. So let's cover that information first. The first overarching theme of this transit is a shift from prioritizing material success and technological advancements as the overall goal to prioritizing good judgment and compassion as the overall goal. Saturn transiting Pisces will bring healing and focus, meaning that the healing of humanity, which is very necessary as we all know, will not be done through more financial advancement or more technological innovation, but by teaching us all that compassion is of the utmost importance and bringing the lesson that an every man for himself mentality will only lead to breakdown and destruction. Now, the second theme of this transit will be recognizing that if you adopt a victim mentality, then you are in a constant state of giving away your power. Pisces is the sign of self-undoing, so Saturn transiting through the sign of Pisces is urging everyone to recognize the part that they play in their own dissatisfaction. Even if you go through something that was completely out of your control, and if you were a victim at some point, which much of humanity has been, even if that's the case, you still have the choice of how you will respond to those experiences. Just because you were victimized at some point does not mean you need to have a victim mentality. And the third theme and subsequent lesson for the collective in terms of how this will affect everyone is in order to truly advance as a whole, as humanity, some sacrifices must be made. So much of the time we do want what is best for others, but as long as it means that we don't have to give up anything ourselves. And Saturn transiting Pisces is here to teach us that by making some personal sacrifices, we can truly have a positive effect on the greater good, which in the end will personally benefit us anyway, because the better the collective is doing, the better life we can all have as individuals as well. So this is a huge transit that will absolutely bring some very intense moments of major loss and intense challenges, but with courage, determination, intellect, creativity, and compassion, we can all play a part in making a majorly positive change over the next 2.5 years. Now let's talk about what this Saturn transit will mean for your individual sign. Okay, my powerful Aries, when Saturn transits through Pisces for you, this is going to be in your 12th house. So over the next 2.5 years, this is going to be a time of spiritual development for you, Aries. If you have any deep-rooted emotional trauma, this will be an excellent time to begin some sort of therapy. If there's anything left undone in terms of lingering emotional residue, these feelings will begin to surface and show up in your life in terms of within your relationships and even how you navigate your day-to-day activities. So it will be very important to do a lot of inner work during this time. You are great at facing challenges, Aries, and during this transit, the challenge will be facing your fears and even facing any skeletons that you have hiding in your closet. Meaning, if there is anything that you've been keeping a secret for fear of judgment, or if there's something that you did in the past that you just don't want to face, then just know this is absolutely the time period where you're meant to face this. This will be a time to really pay attention to and give energy towards taking care of your mental health. You are very independent, Aries, but even the most independent individuals need help at times, and they can feel fear or sadness. So this transit is going to be a time of taking care of the inner you and then seeing how this will have such an incredible effect on your outer world. Now, if your moon is in Aries, this Saturn transit Pisces energy doesn't form a major aspect to your moon sign, which just means when it comes to your moon sign and your emotional interactions, that there won't be an intensified energy coming your way in that area of your life that's governed by your moon sign. So the overall message you can relate to when it comes to your emotional world is in alignment with the Aries rising or Aries sun sign message, which is that theme of tending to the inner you. Really taking the time for yourself, especially when it comes to self-care, facing any inner challenges or darkness, and freeing yourself from any hold that negative past experiences may have on you. If you feel like you need more alone time than usual, take it. Just know that meditating and doing yoga and journaling and praying and any spiritual practice will be very beneficial to you during this transit. So this is going to be a spiritually enlightening 2.5 years for you, Aries, where cleansing, healing, resolution, and enlightenment will be the theme as you prepare for the next Saturn transit, which will be in Aries, your first house, where the theme will be your identity and your individuality. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive and enlightening Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Taurus, when Saturn transits through Pisces for you, this is going to be in your 11th house. So Taurus, this will be a 2.5 year period where you are meant to find the meaning in your life. When it comes to the people you surround yourself with, when it comes to who and what you give your energy to, life will be reflecting back to you whether or not you are feeding your soul. Meaning, are you engaging in the things that make you light up? Things that motivate you, that bring you fulfillment, that uplift you. This is also a time where you will not only learn to value working with others, but you may find yourself being put in the position of having to work in group situations in order to achieve the goals that you have for yourself in life. And you will find that superficial interactions will become less and less interesting to you as time goes by. You will also become very conscious of the part that certain people play in your life and the part that you play in your own life, coming to a very confident conclusion over this period of time of who exactly you want to continue to take on this journey of life with you and who you want to set free and let them take a different path. This will also be a time where you will define your true hopes and wishes, and it will be revealed to you exactly what it is that you might have to go through in terms of challenges or in terms of transforming personal habits in order to achieve that goal. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, it is important to know that this Saturn transit will be sextile your Taurus sun energy, which will lend to you feeling more secure and clear on who you are as an individual. If you've been the type of person that can be taken over by fears and insecurities, then you will find that during this Saturn transit, your sun sign, you will feel much more clear and much more certain, not only about what you're capable of, but also of just what it is you need to do in order to move forward on the path of fulfillment. You will put up with much less BS, and if you are a people pleaser, this will also begin to diminish during this transit. If you're watching this from the perspective of your moon sign, you will find that you will be feeling much more mature emotionally in terms of not being as reactive as you may have been in the past. You also will be much less likely to feel overwhelmed emotionally, and you will have a much more practical grasp in terms of your perspective and how you navigate your emotional disposition. Your relationships, especially romantic ones, will be much easier to navigate, and you will feel much more secure in the connection that you have with those people closest to you. So overall, Taurus, this Saturn transit Pisces energy will be a time of embracing confidence, discovering feelings grounded in certainty, all while finding meaning to your life as you move forward. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive and enlightening Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Geminis, when Saturn transits Pisces for you, this will be in your 10th house. So Geminis, you want to make sure that during this time you are ready for hard work, but also be ready to achieve the success that the hard work you are putting in will reward you with. This will be a time to make sure and not attempt to take shortcuts in life. Progress matters, and you are very good at finding clever ways to get things done, but step by step can be a great way to go. Remember, Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, which is the master at the step-by-step long game, and that is why Capricorn energy is related to success much of the time. However, with this Pisces energy that Saturn will be bringing, it will be important for you to remember that the rules of the game are there for a reason. And when I say rules, I just mean the rules when it comes to the game of life. This will be a time where you will become very very clear on any and every way that you have stood in your own way on your journey to success. And this will be so you can take this information, learn the connected lessons, and then make the necessary changes, so that way you have some major advancements in your professional world and also in the way that the public views you. This could be a time where you climb the ladder of success to heights you have never experienced before, but you must be willing to take in information as it comes to you and apply that information. No remixing the information to make it easier on yourself or as to avoid any steps that you don't want to take. Take the information and apply it accurately and effectively. If you've been on a path of focus and diligently pursuing your goals, then this transit can for sure be a major time of success. If the opposite is true, then this transit will be a time of consequences. But even if you haven't been on the right path, you can turn things around during this transit by showing you are ready to learn the necessary lessons and gain the necessary information to make the necessary changes that do yield success and fulfillment in your life. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, then just know that this transit is square your Gemini energy, which will lend to you feeling a bit less confident than usual, and you may feel like things are taking longer and moving more slowly than you would like. When these frustrations come up, just remember, slow and steady wins the race. This is that type of phase for you. When challenges come up, don't think that they mean that you're on the wrong path. They just mean that this may be on a different timeline than you would like, but keep pushing forward because those challenges are going to give you the lessons and information that you need to keep going. You will get there. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your Gemini moon sign, well, this is square your moon sign energy, which means that your biggest challenge may be a feeling like you're not getting the emotional support that you desire. This could also mean that some challenges in your personal relationships, or maybe even a relationship coming to an end, could take place. Just know that if this is the case, it is for the best, and it is all just a part of your life's journey to fulfillment and to the right relationship. Major change can be very difficult, but when you get to the other side of it, you will see that it is serving your soul and your growth in the most beautiful way possible. So overall, Gemini, this energy will be an intense time of growth, of change, some rewards professionally, and some realizations emotionally. But keep in mind that step-by-step mentality, and you will make it to the other side of this transit more evolved, more confident, more accomplished, and fulfilled. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive and enlightening Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Cancerians, when Saturn transits Pisces for you, this will be in your 9th house. So for any of you out there that are still in school or in college, you may find that over the next 2.5 years, you may start to question the direction you are taking and asking yourself, what is it all for? The good news is, you not only will find the answer to this question and you'll feel good about that answer, but you will start to understand your life and the role that you play in it to a greater degree. You will feel more like you are in the driver's seat, and you will feel more confident in that role. Now, whether you're in school or not, you may find that over the time of this Saturn transit Pisces energy, that major work opportunities will come up from traveling or from dealing with people from other cultures than your original surroundings. It will be very important during this time to have a spiritual foundation, but to not allow yourself to become closed-minded in any way or obsessive about whatever your spiritual foundation is, due to the fact that when you commit to something, you fully commit. Remember, Saturn is all about teaching lessons. So if the lesson you need to learn is being more open-minded, sometimes things need to get worse and hit an extreme in order for you to be motivated to make changes. Now, when this transit begins, you may find yourself feeling a little less confident than usual, but this is a good thing, Cancers. This is just so you can really begin to redefine how you really see yourself in terms of what you're capable of. And this way you can be fueled by certainty as opposed to any sort of blind optimism or just dreaming. Now, don't get me wrong, dreaming is great. It is where all manifesting begins, but you want your drive and your confidence to come from knowing what you're capable of as opposed to just hoping that it's going to happen. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your Cancer sun sign, just know that this Saturn transit is forming a trine, which is a very positive aspect with with your Cancer sun, which means you will start to feel much less overwhelmed by situations and much more sure about yourself. This will be a time where you really step into your power, Cancers, in terms of how you navigate your life. This will be a time of maturity, a time of embracing challenges with much more excitement and much less fear. Now, this will also assist you in releasing any grasp that past experiences may have on you. Now, if you are watching this from the perspective of your moon sign, this Saturn and Pisces transit will be forming a trine with your Cancer moon energy, which, as I said, for the sun sign energy is also very positive for you, in the way that you're going to find yourself beginning to process your emotions much more effectively. Where you may have had the tendency in the past to shut down, you're going to find it much more productive, and you'll be much more capable of communicating and resolving an issue even in the face of heavy waves of emotion. Anything regarding your emotions, like your relationships or the way that you express yourself creatively, will have a much more grounded approach and tone to it. So for Cancer energy overall, whether this is your rising sign, your sun sign, or your moon sign, this Pisces Saturn transit will be an incredible time of growth, of confidence, of self-actualization and progress. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive, enlightening Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Leos, when Saturn transits Pisces, for you this will be in your 8th house. So Leos, an 8th house Saturn transit is definitely a time where you can expect some major changes in your life. So be prepared and be excited, because change, whether challenging change or welcomed change, is always an opportunity for growth. If you are in any sort of situation where you share finances with someone, you may find that you cannot count on that person. So it will be important to make sure that you have a clear plan of independence financially for yourself. Now, this doesn't mean immediately begin to distrust the person that you have shared finances with if you're in that situation, because the connection between the two of you may be great and it may continue to be great. However, Saturn is all about lessons, and the lesson here is that you should always make sure that no matter what the circumstances, whether you're getting along great and it's working perfectly or not, that you never become too dependent on someone else. So even in the face of a great relationship that's just going perfectly, you should always know that you are able to take care of yourself if anything goes wrong or if something changes in an unexpected way. Now, the 8th house Saturn transit can also bring a light to any issue that may be lingering when it comes to your sexual relationships. Just know that this is all in order to bring awareness to what it is you really want and whether or not you are receiving what it is that you desire. It's also to bring light to whether or not in your relationships you are willing to share and give what the person that you're with is desiring from you. Now, I don't want to scare anyone, but the 8th house is the house of death, regeneration, possessions, and shared finances, like I was talking about. And because death and regeneration are part of this equation, oftentimes you may be dealing with some sort of loss during this Saturn transit. Loss can come in many forms though, and it also leads to regeneration. So I'm letting you know this so that way you're not only prepared, but also so that way you can recognize that the lesson that Saturn brings with this sort of experience is learning the ability to release control or attachment to anything. This could also mean a psychological loss as opposed to a physical loss, meaning during this Saturn transit, you may begin to let go of the idea that most of us have when we're younger, which is the idea that we have all the time in the world to do whatever it is that we want. And instead of that way of thinking, you may begin to embrace the idea that everyone's time is limited on Earth. So it is very important to make the most of every moment. Also, if there's any sort of addictive behavior that you might have, Leo, this will be intensified during this Saturn transit in order to give you the opportunity to overcome this addictive behavior and make the necessary changes to get back your power and step into a healthier, more fulfilling path for yourself. If you are watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, just know that this Saturn transit does not form any major aspect to your Leo energy, so the effects of this transit may not be as intense as it is for other signs, and this also applies to those of you that are watching from the perspective of your moon sign. For you, the more intense Saturn transit will arrive in 2.5 years when Saturn transits Aries. But overall, for Leo energy, this Saturn transit will absolutely be a time of growth, new realizations, and the release of old ways of thinking and behavior, giving way to a new perspective grounded in your personal power. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive and enlightening Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Virgos, during this Saturn Pisces transit for you, this will be bringing energy to your 7th house. As you probably know, this is the house of relationships. So the challenges and lessons for you will be focused in your connection with others. More specifically, when it comes comes to romantic relationships. If you are single, you may begin to feel the absence of someone else more intensely, meaning you may really begin to desire a relationship in your life, and you may start to feel waves of loneliness and maybe even sadness that could come and go. Just know that this is all in order to assist you in making the necessary adjustments to manifest the relationship that you have come to desire. So it would be beneficial to examine your way of looking at relationships. Do you focus on what you don't want as opposed to what you do want? Have past hurts and disappointments resulted in you putting up walls or in you finding it hard to trust? All of these questions will be brought to light and answered during this Saturn transit. If you are already in a relationship, this transit will bring to light any issues that the two of you may be having in order for them to be resolved. And by the end of this transit, you will either find that the relationship has deepened significantly or that it has ended, but there will have been major change. Remember, Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, so a sense of practicality and even a reality check will come along to be applied to your relationship, but this is through the filter of Pisces energy, so it's going to be very big picture and very emotionally driven. Anything you may have been avoiding, dealing with, or overlooking, or even pretending doesn't matter will be amplified. Now, even though this energy may be intensified with romantic relationships, it doesn't only apply to romantic relationships. It also applies to friendships, family relationships, business partnerships. Basically, any significant connection that you have will bring up whatever is necessary in terms of circumstances and experiences to make sure you learn the lesson of not only making sure to be clear on exactly what you do want regarding each relationship, but also the lesson of how to have the healthiest, most fulfilling relationship possible, because that's what you deserve, Virgo. This will be a time where surface connections no longer interest you. Depth will be the theme. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, it is important to know that this Saturn transit forms an opposing energy to your Virgo energy, which will lend to feelings of insecurity and feelings that at times life can feel like an uphill battle, which I know sounds frustrating, Virgo, but if you focus on efficiency, consistency, and worry much less about timelines and the future, then you can make it through this Saturn transit very successfully. You may experience the ending of some relationships, and just know if you do, even if the ending is painful, it is somehow in your soul's best interest, and this may be a challenging time, but it will ultimately result in fulfillment. And if you are watching this from the perspective of your Virgo moon, just know that because this transit forms an opposition with your Virgo moon, you may find yourself having major phases of loneliness, and you also may find it difficult to express your feelings. But you know I'm an earth sign just like your Virgo energy, so I do not present problems without solutions. And the solutions for this is making sure you immediately embrace the idea that this is time for you to learn how to become more open and vulnerable in terms of your communication, and to also be more open to letting people into your life, and do so while not keeping certain walls of defense up because you might be expecting them to be like someone in your past that may have hurt you. This is the time to change the narrative and transform any energy that holds you back from having the relationships that your heart and your soul deserve. So this is going to be a challenging time, but embrace the challenge, and it will result in you having more fulfilling, connected, loving relationships. So overall, this Saturn transit through Pisces will be a major evolution when it comes to your world of relationships, Virgo. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive, enlightening Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Libras, when the sun transits Pisces for you, this will be in your 6th house. So what will really come into focus over this Saturn transit for you, Libra, is your health and what you do for a living, and this energy will be grounded in how the two things relate to each other. Meaning, if you have a very stressful job that requires long hours or a lot of your energy, so much so that you find yourself sacrificing tending to your own health, this Saturn transit will have the intention of teaching you that this formula is absolutely not going to work for you. So if health problems do come up during this time, it will be very important for you to pay attention to how you manage your energy, Libra. Depleting yourself without making sure to give yourself the time to recharge can have long-term repercussions. It will be very important during this Saturn transit through Pisces for you to focus on what you do day to day and pay close attention to the results of these activities, so you can really start to understand what works for you and what doesn't. So when you're having one of those days where you feel good, you feel energized, you feel balanced, you feel optimistic, ask yourself, what have I been doing today that's bringing me this energetic feeling? And then those days where you're feeling down and you're feeling unmotivated and you're feeling maybe even angry or depressed or easily triggered, ask yourself, what have I been doing on this day? Where has my thought process been? Did I get enough sleep the night before? Am I depleted? Have I had a really long week beforehand? Start to take all these things into consideration, and then you can start to really understand and curate your life on a day-to-day basis in terms of what you know works for you and keeps you consistently feeling good and excited and enjoying your life. This way you can really start to understand what works for you, Libra, and what doesn't. So that way you can make sure and take care of the most important thing that we all have, which is your health. Because without that, it is impossible to be able to truly enjoy anything else. Now, because the 6th house also has a strong influence on your world of work, this means it could very well bring more responsibilities your way, which could be a good thing as long as you make sure and balance this with taking care of yourself like we were talking about before. Libra energy can tend to give into people pleasing, and because of this, they can take on more work than necessary just to keep the peace or as to not burden someone else. But Libra, you are a cardinal energy, and one of your gifts is being able to delegate and identify what someone's strengths are and what their weaknesses are. So it will be very beneficial to you to step into your power as a cardinal sign, as a leader, and empower those people around you to apply their strengths, so that way you can be a part of a strong team as opposed to you unnecessarily taking on more just to keep the peace. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign or your moon sign, it is important to know that this Saturn transit does not form any major aspect to this position of your Libra energy, but the overall message in terms of how this Saturn transit does apply to Libra energy is understanding that now is the time to make sure you are taking care of yourself, mind, body, and soul, while making sure your life in terms of how you spend your time on a day-to-day basis, who you spend your time with, and where you put your energy, understanding that that has a major effect on your well-being and your happiness, Libra. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive and enlightening Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Scorpios, when the sun transits Pisces for you, this will be in your 5th house. So Scorpios, this is huge for you when it comes to how you express yourself to the world and how you navigate your relationships, especially those of a romantic nature. You know that Saturn is the planet of responsibility, it's the planet of limitations and lessons. So you may find that during the beginning phase of this Saturn transit, it would be very beneficial if you start to ask yourself, are you really tapping into your true potential? Are you really allowing your uniqueness and your talents to guide you when it comes to what you want out of life? Now, this isn't at all to get down on yourself if you haven't been doing that, but it is to make sure that the life that you're living is one that is bringing you happiness and fulfillment. We can all look back to when we were children in terms of the things that interested us and the things that motivated us and the activities that brought us the most happiness. Those experiences and those feelings, they're a window into what makes us light up as human beings. This is where we find motivation. If there's something that we genuinely enjoy doing, we don't have a hard time at all being motivated to do it. But when it's something that we are doing simply because we think we have to, it is much more difficult to get motivated and to take on that task. And it is also much more difficult to enjoy that process. So Scorpio, this Saturn transit is bringing you the opportunity to really take a good, hard look at your life and honestly connect to whether or not you are enjoying the life that you're living. And if for any reason you are not, it is time to make the changes, to start engaging in the things that really make you feel alive. The one thing that is for sure in life is change. Nothing ever stays the same. So if you want to make sure that change will bring more exciting experiences and more fulfillment, now is the time to start making the choices that lead to this sort of existence, because change in the opposite direction is absolutely not where you want to be, Scorpio. Now, the 5th house also relates to children. So if you are a parent, you may very well find that the next 2.5 years could be a crucial time in terms of the guidance that you're giving your children. Also, the 5th house connects to romantic relationships, so there could be some major lessons coming to this area of your life as well. And the good news is, Scorpios, for those of you that are looking for love, this could actually mean that the changes that you make in terms of your perspective about life and love could absolutely result in you manifesting the loving relationship that you know you deserve. Now, those of you that are watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, this will be a very significant Saturn transit for you because of the aspect that the Scorpio energy forms with the Pisces transit, which is a trine, and that will bring more clarity and confidence to who you are. There will be more guidance and support that shows up in your life, and you will transform any pain from the past into strength for the present and optimism for the future. And for those of you that are watching this from the perspective of your moon sign, the trine that this Saturn transit forms with your moon sign will lend to you feeling more comfortable and more confident when it comes to sharing your true feelings and communicating your needs, and also handling any sort of challenges in the most productive way possible, which will lend to more positive connections and an overall feeling that you are not alone and that you can trust. So overall, this Saturn transit Pisces energy is a time for freeing your Scorpio energy from any heaviness from the past, and it will lead you to the experiences and realizations that will assist you in stepping into a life of more fulfillment, a life of more love, and a life of more happiness. So embrace this energetic opening, Scorpio, and I am wishing you the most enlightening and productive Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Sagittarians, this Saturn transit through Pisces for you will be in your 4th house. So this is going to be an intense but very rewarding time, Sagittarius, and you can probably already feel that energy taking place. By that I mean, you know, Saturn is the planet of responsibility, limitations, and lessons being learned through challenges. Well, I say you already are feeling this energy of Saturn because you may have been feeling like lately life has been a bit of an uphill battle. Even though Sagittarius is known as the sign of the optimist and the sign that has a really good luck energy about them, this year so far and much of last year actually did bring some major challenges your way. Well, this Saturn energy is coming along to assist you in understanding what needs to take place in order for this energy to shift and put you back in that space of flow and good fortune. Now, Sagittarius, where this all begins is within your inner home. This Saturn transit will open your eyes to any fears, pain, insecurity, or heaviness that is lingering within, so that way you can process this energy and heal this energy and experience the subsequent success from doing so. If there are any family issues that you have yet to address, be it from childhood or from the recent past years, these things will be playing a part in your life in ways that you may not have been able to see up until this point, but you will start to see them during this transit. So that way you can confront these issues. And when I say confront, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a confrontation with a family member, but it does mean that you have to face these experiences and the feelings connected to these experiences, and honestly reveal to yourself how you were affected by them, and then decide what it is that you can do now to heal and release that energy. Sometimes healing comes in the form of a new dynamic to a relationship. So you may find yourself having to care for a family member in a way that brings the two of you closer together. Sometimes healing comes in the form of letting go and realizing that acceptance sometimes means allowing a certain dynamic to end, but also releasing the negative energy connected to it. So whatever you face during this time, Sagittarius, just know it is to heal any trauma that may still be living within you. Now, this 4th house energy could also be calling upon you to make sure that you have a healthy balance between your work life and your home life. So it will be important to make sure that your family and your loved ones are getting the energy from you that they need, and that you're getting the energy from them that you need. And you will realize that making sure that this dynamic is in a positive balance will serve to actually bring more success and momentum to your professional life, because you will feel that foundation of support and love. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, just know that the aspect between your sun sign and this Saturn transit will be a square. And just know that this could lend to you having a feeling that things are moving more slowly than you would like them to. And it could also lend to financial challenges. But if this is the case, just know that this is only temporary, and that in this case, slow and steady wins the race. So just remain consistent, connected to your day-to-day tasks, maintain the most optimistic disposition possible, and you will emerge on the other side of this transit more accomplished and capable than ever. Pisces energy is also ruled by Jupiter. So even though it forms a square with your energy, still the winning formula by Sagittarius energy and Pisces energy is always remaining optimistic and looking at the big picture, and not being bogged down by the details of small challenges or little hurdles that come along as you're on your path to fulfillment and achieving your goals. And if you're watching this from the perspective of your moon sign, just know that the square that this transit forms with your moon sign could bring up some major feelings of insecurity, and you may find it very challenging to tap into that part of you that does believe that anything is possible and that you are capable. But the more you can go deeper than those fears, beneath those fears or insecurity, and tap into your true self and operate from that space, and when you make the choice to see the situation in a way that is most beneficial to your soul's journey, that's when you know for sure, Sagittarius, you're using this Saturn transit in the best possible way that you can, which will will yield the most positive outcome. So overall, Sagittarius, this Saturn transit will be an incredible time of healing, of self-discovery, and a true reinvention of who you are inside and out. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Capricorns, when Saturn, your ruling planet, transits through Pisces, for you, this will be in your 3rd house. So Capricorns, this is going to be a serious time of self-discovery. This is going to be a time of learning who you have been, who you are right now in your life, and who you intend to be, and the way that you will discover this will be differently than how you have in the past. You will need to challenge yourself to take more risks, and not risks in terms of setting new step-by-step goals for yourself or gambling and rolling the dice. This isn't much of a risk for you because this is how you naturally are wired. You can take risks like that and not fear them. Remember, Saturn is your ruling planet, so setting goals is nothing new for you. And following the rules in terms of knowing how the game of life works and sticking to those rules in order to win, that's no strange territory for you either. However, being vulnerable and putting yourself out there to be judged in some way, now that can be a challenge. Meaning this is going to be a time period of learning new skills, honing new skills, having new creative ideas, taking in new information, and then giving yourself the okay to express those ideas and confidently put those ideas out into the world, ready to receive what will come back, even if you don't feel 100% comfortable with that. Then using the information that does come back from this vulnerability, using it to benefit yourself, allowing you to be more open than ever to constructive criticism. And in the midst of taking on this new understanding of self and your place in the world, it is highly likely with this 3rd house energy that you will have more responsibilities that show up when it comes to siblings, if you have any siblings, especially a brother. Now, this could also apply to friends that may need your support or your assistance during this transit, but the energy is most highly focused on siblings. Also, it will be important to be very diligent about going over every detail of any contract that you sign during this transit, because it will more than likely have a strong long-term effect on your life. And the good news is, throughout all of this, you're going to feel that your mental disposition is enhanced, your confidence will be increased, and your ability to accept situations for exactly what they are without allowing them to have a negative effect on your energetic flow, this will be increased. And when it does come to being there for your friends or family, you will find a healthy balance between creating necessary boundaries and also meeting someone right where they are, while tending to their needs as much as possible in a healthy way without judging them or trying to change them, which will work in your favor by bringing you less stress and heaviness. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, just know that this Saturn transit will form a sextile to your sun sign energy, which will lend to you having a much stronger sense of self. You will have a clear vision of who you are and what you are capable of, and you will also have no problem navigating your path to achieving your goals, even in the face of those challenges that I was talking about earlier that you're going to be willing to put yourself through. So just know that this is a very positive influence for you. Now, if you're watching from the perspective of your moon sign, just know that the sextile that this Saturn transit forms with your moon sign energy will lend to you understanding your emotional nature more deeply and you processing your emotions more effectively. Not only will you feel more support, but you will also be more capable of communicating your needs more openly and clearly. So this is an excellent transit for your emotional growth and connection. So overall, Capricorns, this Saturn transit Pisces energy will be an incredible time of self-actualization that will definitely come with its challenges, but will also come with its rewards. So embrace this energetic opening, and I hope you have the most productive Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Aquarians, this Saturn transit Pisces energy will be in your 2nd house. Now, this is a very serious transit for you, Aquarius, because this is truly the time where you are meant to identify what is valuable in your life and what no longer holds value. And this relates to things that are practical, like material things, but it also relates to things emotional, like certain relationships, and things that are spiritual, like certain belief systems and thought patterns that you have. This is going to be a time where you truly see the behaviors that you have that result in disappointment or pain or suffering or sadness, so that way you can identify the root of these issues and make the necessary changes to eradicate that pain and suffering from your life. You might find that during this time you are being much harder on yourself than you usually are. And if you do find this, it is important to remember that your self-perception and how you speak to yourself are strongly linked. And those two things have a major impact not only on your choices, but they also have a major impact on what you manifest in the world around you. So Aquarius, this is a time to bring awareness to this area of your life. And if you find that you do speak negatively to yourself, I mean saying things to yourself like, oh, why did I do that? I'm so stupid. Or, oh, of course, that just happened. That's just my luck. If you find yourself saying things to yourself like that, this Saturn, or worse even, this Saturn transit is going to continue to show you how that negatively manifests in your life until you decide to make the necessary changes to begin loving yourself better. Now, honesty is always the way to go. If you make a mistake, of course, say, yes, I made a mistake and you need to do better. And you have to hold yourself accountable. But then follow that up with, I know I'm going to do better because I am better than this. I'm better than my mistakes, and I'll do better because I know what I'm capable of. And then you go about proving that to yourself. As an Aquarius, you are all about progress and forward movement, but just know you will be hurting your own progress and stunting your own growth if you don't take the initiative to make sure that the way you see yourself is someone who is capable and deserving of manifesting your desires, and as someone who is capable and deserving of having healthy relationships grounded in give and take, and someone who is worthy of living a life that they are enjoying on a day-to-day basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. Now, you can also tend to be a bit impatient, Aquarius, and this Saturn transit will be teaching you that not everything is going to happen on your timeline, but consistency and the right frame of mind will get you there if you are patient and you're certain that you are worthy of what it is that you're working towards. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, just know that the aspect form between your Aquarius energy and this Saturn transit Pisces energy is not a major aspect. So the effects of this energy may not be as intense as it would be for other signs of the zodiac, but it is bringing a great opportunity for growth your way nonetheless. And this goes for those of you that are watching from the perspective of your moon sign as well. There is no major aspect formed here, so you can count on opportunities for emotional transformation, but they may not come in the same level of extremes as signs that have a stronger aspect formed to this transit. So overall, Aquarius, this Saturn transit Pisces energy is bringing you an excellent opportunity to step into your power when it comes to how you see yourself and how you see your relationship with the material world around you, and how you can amplify your manifesting power by making sure that you take the necessary steps to have a loving and supportive relationship with yourself. So embrace this energetic opening, and I'm wishing you the most productive Saturn transit possible. Okay, my powerful Pisces, when Saturn transits Pisces, this is going to be in your first house. So Pisces, this is all about preparation for you. I know Saturn has already begun this transit, but it stays here for a while, so you can begin your preparation right now because it is just getting started. You know that Saturn is the sign of lessons and learning those lessons through challenges, and you are well equipped for these challenges, but you have to make sure that you are excited to take them on and not operating from a place of fear or self-doubt. You are a very intelligent energy because you are the culmination of all of the signs of the zodiac. You are well-rounded and you have an incredible, vast understanding of the world around you. However, because the vibration that you operate on is that of a water sign, you tend to process the world around you through your emotions. And because of this, when a circumstance brings the threat of uncomfortable emotions, you have a tendency to do your best to circumvent the situation, meaning you tend to try and avoid it as best as possible. You may say, it's gonna work itself out, everything's gonna be fine, and you will move forward, and then you'll focus on the things that bring you joy and the things that make you feel good. And actually, there's nothing wrong with focusing on what brings you joy. I'm all about that. However, whenever you avoid an experience that your soul is meant to go through for growth and new understanding, that experience doesn't go away. If you avoid it, it doesn't just disappear. It will find a way to come back around to motivate you to go through that experience. And if you're not making the choice to face certain situations, the universe will find a way to create the right set of circumstances in an attempt to force you into facing them. And if the universe has to take this route, those circumstances will become more and more intense each time in an attempt to keep you from avoiding the opportunity. So Pisces, now is the time for you to say to yourself, I am a dreamer at heart. meaning you can always see past the surface, past the material into the spiritual realm, and that dreamer aspect of you is a beautiful part of who you are. It's what leads you to greatness much of the time, but because we live in a physical world, you will be at your most effective when you embrace the dreamer within, but also actively face the realities of the physical world and the rules of the game of life. And facing those realities means being excited and ready to see this as a major opportunity to reinvent yourself, Pisces. From this moment on, anything that shows up in your life that brings you dissatisfaction or any form of unhappiness or frustration or anger or sadness or whatever, ask yourself, what is this telling me about myself, and what can I learn from this? What lesson is this teaching me about myself? And when I grasp this lesson, I will have a new perspective and now make different choices that will lead to more fulfillment and happiness. The narrative of who you have believed yourself to be, Pisces, is ready and waiting for you to do a daily revision. Not because you're unhappy with yourself and not because you think you necessarily need to change who you are, but because you are smart enough to know that everything is energy, and energy is always moving and always changing and taking different forms. So for us as human beings, the more we can embrace the idea that growth must occur constantly, the more you will be excited to know that if you face these things right when they show up, accept them, process them, and resolve them, and then make the necessary changes accordingly, moving forward, the more you will feel confident, capable, and fulfilled. Also much more lighthearted because you won't have anything lingering over your head because you'll handle things as they come up. Also, the more you will diminish any power that fear or insecurity has had over you because you will know how capable you are of handling anything and coming out on the other side better than ever because of it. Now, if you're watching this from the perspective of your sun sign, this transit is forming a conjunction with your Pisces energy, which results in the beginning of this transit bringing up some feelings of loneliness and maybe even some heaviness or lack of motivation. But just know that this means it is go time, Pisces. This means that the challenge has begun, and the sooner you embrace the challenge, the sooner you will be on the path to your personal greatness. And remember, embracing the challenge just means when you feel those feelings, you'll say to yourself, I'm not going to sit in these. I will feel them for sure, but then I'll also say to myself, okay, what is it that I need in order to feel better? And then start making that happen. And if you're watching from the perspective of your moon sign, this conjunction that this Saturn transit will form with your moon sign energy will tempt you to go into poor me mode, even bringing up feelings of heaviness and feelings of being overwhelmed. And you might even find that your relationships, especially family relationships, are needing more from you than you feel like you might have to give. However, just know that this again is another opportunity for you to create healthy boundaries, for you to express what you need in order to feel supported while making sure to put forth the effort to establish strong relationships that are rooted in an even balance of give and take. So overall, this Saturn transit is an excellent opportunity for Pisces energy to say no more to what you know brings you unhappiness. And this means first and foremost, the part that you play in your own unhappiness. No more will you accept any behavior from yourself or from anyone else in your life that is not in your soul's best interest. It's time to challenge yourself, Pisces. Embrace the people who challenge you, all while making sure that you're loving yourself through the process, and embrace those people who also love you through the process. So be excited for this life-changing energetic opening, Pisces, and I'm wishing you the most productive Saturn transit possible. Okay, so there you have it. How this Saturn transit through Pisces will affect your individual sign. I hope you all enjoyed the information. If you did, don't forget the baby tap. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.